motocross and BMX were my two fun sports, and then I'd always loved drawing. So for me, creating a brand was the obvious collaboration of those two fun things. And I guess, just imagining what you could make next, and like, oh man, it'd be cool if I made a shirt and someone else wanted to buy it. And then, to see someone walking past you in the street who's wearing that shirt that you made, like, it's a really cool feeling, and you get addicted to it. And I suppose for me, like, I went through the regular sort of routes going through design college, and I remember I took a pay drop, actually. I had a first job at a motorcycle distributor, and then Morrison Media, which is the media company down here on the Gold Coast, they had Surfing Life and Freerider magazine and all these great magazines. And I thought, man, I would learn so much if I was in that environment. And so I actually took a pay drop to go there, but it was like getting a tertiary education that they paid me for. That's how I looked at it.
It's a Gold Coast
In the worlds before Monkey, primal chaos reigned.
G'day viewers, this podcast is brought to you by Koala Karma, the chill out drink, the relaxation drink. It's caffeine free with chamomile and magnesium. That's right, on today's podcast, I speak with Paul Everest, a super interesting dude, an artist who made $20 million at the head of unit clothing worldwide. All started in Benoa in a garage on the Gold Coast, and now he's running a couple of the most craziest and best innovative ideas in design that I've heard for a long time, and we're so jazzed about it. Carlos from Carlos Creative, he was in on this one at the end of the podcast as well. And Paul sold us on this new idea that Evrst have that's a revolution to anyone out there. So hang through to the end of this, where he really describes the importance of selling and having a brand and making some good cash out of some great ideas. Listen to me yabber on. That's right, mate. Anyway, thanks for coming in, Paul. All right, thank you, Koala Karma. Are you there, Paul Everest? Yeah! Paul Everest put it there.
How's it going, mate?
Great. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Brisbane lad at the moment, yeah?
I'm in between. I actually live halfway between two. Mount Cotton's my little hood at the moment, so striking distance to Gold Coast or Brisbane. Whichever I need to go to, it's always easy to get to.
It's good dirt biking territory, that Mount Cotton.
Whatever's in the water, there's a lot of BMX and motocross, I guess, athletes built or made in that territory. So for some reason, we've managed to make a few of them.
Now, I know how we're going to do this without sound. I don't like doing interviews so much as just yapping. Yeah.
Yep.
But we have. Anyone listening to this, I urge you to look up the Pulse Expression podcast, where you and I first spoke with Steve Dart, champion bloke, where I found out your cool history of growing up in Papua New Guinea from memory, yeah, and landing back in the Gold. I'm fast forwarding loads of steps, but everyone needs to know that the unit clothing company, which is still going strong today. And as a matter of fact, I only saw something online before you walked in here today. It's like a huge worldwide label. It was created by yourself and your brother in a house in Benoa using spray cans on caps and shirts and stuff. And what your first event was in Parkwood, I remember, I think. Yeah.
So it was just, Benoa was where we kicked off in a garage, like most brands start there. And I think our first signage that we put on events was stolen barter card signs from the golf course. We had to really hustle and try and build stuff with no money, and I think that's how good companies start. If you're limited on cash, you get inventive, and we had an idea for a company, and the garage was the place to start it, and we went for it without any idea what we were doing, and fortunately it worked.
Yeah. You know what blows my mind, Paul? You what you're talking about there is like a bit of guerrilla marketing, pulling things off the wall. I'm not being negative whatsoever, but now that I'm working this business I'm in right now, don't talk about much, but we have a bunch of stickers machines downstairs. What's stopping me doing a midnight run and planting a bunch of dicks on the side of trucks all over the city? Or say, that's my joke. Yep. Like guerrilla marketing. It seems like no one's doing it right now.
Yeah,
do you think?
I think there is nothing stopping you. Basically, you can do that. And I encourage people to not look at the internet so much as that's where everything is. I mean, there's something to be said for the analog world that we all still live in. And I think if you can get something happening there, it's almost, it's a stronger place to be. With the physical reality is everything's now Instagram and everything's the internet, but just getting out and shaking people's hands and doing events and doing, stunts or whatever it is you do. That's really what I think people forget.
Yeah. And it's so frightening too to do that. Hey, when was the last, to put it, my idea in action, like when was the last time you drove by an overpass and there was a, I love you, Elizabeth thing hanging from an overpass? I haven't seen that for 10 years.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of that in Australia.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Whenever I'm in the States, I see it there all the time. Rest in peace, if something's happened to someone in their life, they'll go and do that over an overpass, but you don't see it so much here. But people forget that this world we're in is sometimes a better place to put your idea, in the town around you.
Yeah, I know. I've bought a couple of things off you lately. You one of the greatest. When I think about you, because I know you're an artist. Okay, so you're a legit, just an artist flat out, with a good eye for design, obviously, because you made a squillion in unit. with some good eye for shapes and designs and colour that sold millions of T-shirts worldwide. And had you, I think you were living in the States, and you probably still kind of do, for all I know. But now I know that you have the Evrst brand, Evrst, which
yes.
that logo rocks my world.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, I've been lucky in life in many ways, and I think what I learned in the apparel business is, the fun of having your own business is what is a very exciting thing to do. And you can see it's really trending now. Everyone's kind of going, oh, maybe I can start my own brand. And so that got me thinking. And because I've been through the trauma of building a brand, I thought if I could build a company where we can help other young people start a brand, if they have, they're coming into it with no idea or, a little bit of an advantage in whatever, area that they've come into the business from. Some people come in going, I'm a salesman, but I want to start a company. Everyone's got an advantage in some field, but we can help them fill in the blanks with understanding what they're getting themselves into. Do they really want to do they know what they're getting themselves into? And Evrst is a company built to fulfill those orders and also collaborate, not collaborate, I should say, consult. So we're like a virtual business partner. We can help them make the right decisions. A lot of times I tell them what not to do. It seems to be that everyone wants to have a go at it, and we help them get there.
Yeah. So it's like so my dad's got a big business. He got involved with a company called Action Coach. It's a huge worldwide... I'll explain it without trying to make it what they are. It's basically a third guy that comes into the business to go, hey, you guys do this great. If you just did this little tweak in your marketing, or you just did this little thing with your salespeople, do you realise? And I could imagine asking you to do that, and I'd believe you. You know what I'm saying? Because I could see that everything you create with your, like on pencil and on the computer, is just out of control. I always look at logos every day in this shop, and I say, "G'day, Carlos. Carlos Creative is in the corner again." When Carl puts something together that I think it looks like someone else's business. Do you ever make that? Come up with something, and go, "Wow, that looks like it didn't come out of my own hand." Like,
yeah.
and that's bang. Leave it alone. It's made.
Yeah, I mean, it's the creative process is really interesting, and you really go through moments of like you can be flat and not create anything, and then the next day you can create a whole thing. I heard Elton John yesterday say he wrote whichever his album was the best one. He wrote it in 2 days in a hotel room because it was raining outside or something. Like he just, for some reason that moment just worked, and the creativity came through. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. You can sit down and create something that doesn't even look like your work. And then other times you go, oh, it looks like everything I've done. I better start again. And that's the fun of it. It's really a fishing sort of experience in many ways.
Yeah, and you would appreciate with the many things you've done, how some just sell to millions of people. Some things line up like the Nirvana thing. Say,
yeah.
Great songs all together, fashion lined up, bang, the world loved it. Just like I know for a fact, a couple of those t-shirt designs from the unit days. And then many of the stuff you've done recently, but in particular.
Yeah, it's funny, you could build a range of 30 designs, and 2 of them will become just global successes. And I've been lucky enough to, in fact, we actually created the best-selling design in Australian history for one of our designs, and that was really a fluke. I can't really claim I had planned it that way, or it was just if you're in the game and you're working at it, you start to get. You start to develop a science to what builds a good design. I suppose a songwriter has the same thing. I was a huge fan of Nirvana, so that whole thing was, amazing and way too short-lived. I would love to see what he'd be creating today. Imagine what Kurt Cobain would be putting out today. But yeah, who knows? Like the Noel Gallagher, as a songwriter, says that when he's sitting down thinking of songs, they fall from the sky. And one day Bono got that idea because the wind was blowing in another direction. He compares to sitting at sort of a rabbit hole and waiting for the rabbit to come out. I actually got a lot of. I shared that same thought process with design. I got this one, and he said, the Coldplay Yellow song. That was one of his songs that Chris Martin got. So
nice. What are you working on now then?
Well, look, I've got a couple of different projects. I've got one of those minds that is always sort of keeping me awake at night and trying to think of something new to bring forward. And probably, outside of the Evrst company, or I should say inside of it, there's 2 facets. So one is a apparel fulfillment company, which we basically described there. But another project I've been working on for a long time is a new type of approach to working on a computer or playing on a computer. So probably 7 years ago, I must have been 50 staff at the time, and when you're in the creative mode, you need to have a place to do your artwork, and you need to be cordoned off from reality to actually do it well. So I built a design chair, which was a sort of a reclined tool that you sit in, and the screen sits above your head. It's got speakers, and so music's a very strong element in it. And I would go in there and escape from reality and all the staff and all of the noise that comes with a large business. I ended up covering the whole room in mirrors as well, which was just sort of added to that extra dimensional feeling. And from a creative standpoint, you would really be in the prime sort of position to use your mind, from an imaginal, I guess expanding your imagination. So that chair, a lot of people said to me, "Oh, are you ever going to sell them?" Because I would buy one. And at the time, I was way too busy to even consider that. But in the last couple of years, having left the unit brand and moved on to other things, I've added this new chair to my list of jobs to create and sell. So it's something that I can now comfortably say is going to be a really new approach to designing and working or playing on a computer. And it's sort of hard to explain it over a conversation, but it's going to launch in about 2 months, and I really cannot wait to show people what it looks like.
Wow. I can imagine that. So do you ever play with VR? The VR goggles and... Have you?
I haven't yet, but all my friends that are in that area have said it's absolutely incredible. So as soon as I can, I'll be investing in one. I think it's the HTC, or I can't remember what brand it was. That was sort of somewhat the recommended the best one at the moment. But the technology's changing so quickly. You don't know which one do I buy now, or do I get the next one?
Yeah, well, that's what I was about to get. I haven't had the good one yet. I've got the $23 ones that you get in the shop. You slide your mobile phone in. You can't escape that you're wearing some sort of